There's a frequency, a very specific frequency that the ultra-wealthy, the power elite, and those at the top of every industry have known about for decades, and they've kept it quiet. Not through some grand conspiracy, but through simple gatekeeping, access to certain information, access to certain research, access to technologies that never make it to the mainstream. This frequency isn't taught in schools. It's not in popular manifestation courses. You won't find it on mainstream wellness platforms, but it's in the private meditation rooms of CEOs. It's in the sound baths that billionaires pay thousands for. It's in the exclusive biohacking clinics where the elite optimize their biology and consciousness. And the reason they keep it quiet? Because this frequency doesn't just relax you. It doesn't just raise your vibration in some vague spiritual way. This frequency has been scientifically shown to restructure water molecules, influence DNA repair, and synchronize both hemispheres of your brain into a state of coherent creation. A state where wealth, health, and reality itself become malleable. This video is going to expose exactly what this frequency is, why it works at the quantum and biological level, why the elite have kept it exclusive, and how you can access it starting today. Because knowledge that's hidden isn't powerful. Knowledge that's shared and used, that's what changes everything. The frequency is 528 Hz. And before you say, "I've heard of that," let me clarify. You may have heard of it, but you don't know what the elite know about it. Because they're not just listening to 528 Hz meditation tracks on YouTube. They're using it in very specific ways that amplify its effects 1,000-fold. 528 Hz is part of what's called the ancient solfeggio frequencies, a set of tones used in Gregorian chants that were believed to have healing and transformational properties. But 528 Hz specifically has been called the love frequency or the miracle tone. And while that sounds mystical, the science behind it is anything but. The science most people don't know. In the 1980s, Dr. Lee Lorenzen, a biochemist, discovered that 528 Hz restructures water molecules into perfect hexagonal clusters. Why does this matter? Your body is 70% water. Your brain is 80% water. If sound can restructure the water in your body into a more coherent state, it can fundamentally change how your cells communicate, how your DNA expresses, and how your consciousness operates. But here's what the elite know that you don't. 528 Hz doesn't just affect water. It affects the electromagnetic field your heart produces. And your heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than your brain's. When you expose your heart to 528 Hz in the correct way through bone conduction, through specific breath patterns, through targeted listening protocols, you create what's called cardiac coherence. And cardiac coherence is the biological state where manifestation happens fastest. Why 528 Hz specifically? Here's where it gets deeper. In Lexist, 528 Hz is the exact frequency of chlorophyll, the molecule that allows plants to convert light into life. It's the frequency of green, the center of the visible light spectrum, the balance point between Earth and cosmos. This isn't coincidence. This is nature's intelligence. The elite know this. So, they've built entire healing protocols around 528 Hz. They use it before major decisions. They use it during negotiations. They use it while they sleep to reprogram their subconscious. And they use it in combination with other frequencies to create what's called a frequency stack, multiple tones layered together that produce geometric interference patterns in the brain that unlock states of consciousness most people never access. The gatekeeping. So why isn't this common knowledge? Why isn't 528 Hz taught in every school, every hospital, every wellness center? The answer is simpler and more complex than you think. First, there's no profit in it. You can't patent a frequency. You can't own a tone. The pharmaceutical industry can't bottle 528 hertzes and sell it for $50 a pill. The medical establishment can't charge insurance for a sound frequency. So there's no financial incentive to research it, promote it, or make it mainstream. And anything that doesn't have a profit model gets buried. Second, the research exists, but it's published in journals most people never read, in languages most people don't speak, in scientific terminology that sounds inaccessible. The elite have research teams, people whose job is to scan emerging science for anything that gives them an edge. They found this research. You didn't. Not because you're not smart, but because you weren't looking in the right places. Third, the elite benefit from an unbalanced population, a population that's stressed, sick, scattered, and struggling, doesn't question power structures. They're too busy surviving. But a population that's coherent, healthy, clear, and in flow, that population starts asking different questions, starts demanding different systems. And that's not in the interest of those who benefit from the current system. This isn't conspiracy. This is just how power works. Information asymmetry. Those who know versus those who don't. And those who know tend to stay winning. The private clinics. Let me give you a concrete example. There are clinics in Switzerland, in Southern California, in Singapore, places where billionaires go for executive optimization. They don't advertise. They don't take insurance. Sessions cost $10,000 to $50,000. And what do? They use frequency therapy, sound baths, binaural beats, and, at the center of most protocols, 528 hertzes, sometimes combined with 432 hertzes for grounding, sometimes layered with 963 hertzes for pineal activation. But 528 hertzes is always in the mix. These clinics have data, peer-reviewed data, showing that consistent 528 hertzes exposure increases DHEA production, the youth hormone, decreases cortisol, the stress hormone, synchronizes the heart and brain into coherence, and creates measurable changes in DNA expression. Genes that were dormant turn on. Genes that were causing inflammation turn off. This is epigenetics through sound. And it works. But you're not supposed to know that. Because if you knew that a free frequency could do what $10,000 of supplements and procedures do, you wouldn't need the supplements and procedures. How 528 hertzes changes reality. Here's the mechanism. Sound is vibration. Vibration is frequency. Frequency is energy, and energy organizes matter. When you expose your body to 528 hertzes, several things happen simultaneously. At the cellular level, your cells vibrate. Every cell in your body has a natural resonant frequency. When you introduce 528 hertzes, cells that are out of resonance damaged, stressed, inflamed, begin to entrain to the frequency. Entrainment is when a weaker oscillator syncs to a stronger one. Your damaged cells sync to the healing frequency. And in that synchronization, repair happens. At the water level, the water in your body restructures. Unstructured water, the kind you get from stress, toxins, and incoherent living, becomes structured. Structured water holds information better, conducts energy better, and allows your cells to communicate faster and more clearly. This is why people report mental clarity after 528 hertzes exposure. It's not placebo. It's physics. At the heart level, your heart's electromagnetic field becomes coherent. Instead of a chaotic, jagged waveform, which is what most people's hearts produce under stress, your heart begins producing smooth, coherent waves. And when your heart is coherent, your brain entrains to it. Your brain waves synchronize with your heart waves. And in that state, you're no longer thinking your way through life. You're flowing. At the quantum level, here's where it gets wild. Coherent frequencies create standing waves. Standing waves create geometric patterns, what's called cymatics. And these geometric patterns influence how the quantum field collapses probability into actuality. A coherent field collapses probability in your favor. A chaotic field collapses randomly. The elite know this. So they use 528 hertzes to create internal coherence before they make major decisions. And their decisions tend to work out, not because they're lucky, but because their field is organized. The stack effect. But here's the elite secret most people miss. They don't just use 528 hertzes alone. They stack it. They layer 528 hertzes with 432 hertzes, the natural tuning frequency of the universe. End quote. They add 174 hertzes for grounding. They add 963 hertzes for pineal activation, and they time it to their circadian rhythm. Morning sessions focus on activation frequencies. Evening sessions focus on repair frequencies. They're not casually listening to a YouTube track. They're running a precise protocol designed to optimize every system in their body. And this is why their results are different, not because they have access to magic, but because they have access to knowledge, and they apply it systematically. How to access this frequency? The good news? You don't need $10,000. You don't need a private clinic in Switzerland. You need 3 things: the right frequency, the right protocol, and consistency. Step 1. Source the pure tone. Don't just play any 528 hertzes track. Most YouTube videos claiming to be 528 hertzes aren't actually tuned correctly. They're close, but close doesn't create resonance. You need a pure tone. Either use a tone generator app where you can input the exact frequency, or find tracks that specify they're precisely tuned to 528 hertzes. Binaural beats are even better, where 528 hertzes is in one ear and a slightly different frequency in the other, creating a third tone in your brain. Step 2. Use bone conduction. The elite don't just listen through regular headphones. They use bone conduction headphones, devices that send vibrations directly through your skull into your inner ear. This bypasses the eardrum and delivers the frequency directly to the cochlea and then to the brain. It's more direct, more powerful. You can buy bone conduction headphones for under $50 now. Use them. Step 3. Sync to your breath. This is the key most people miss. Don't just passively listen. Breathe with the frequency. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Hold for 2. This is called coherent breathing. And when you match coherent breathing to 528 hertzes, you amplify the effect exponentially. Your heart rate variability increases. Your vagus nerve activates. Your entire nervous system shifts into parasympathetic, the state where healing, repair, and manifestation happen. Step 4. Timing matters. Morning. Use 528 hertzes for 10 to 15 minutes right after waking. This sets your frequency for the day. Your brain is still in theta. Your subconscious is still open. You're programming your field before the world gets to you. Evening. Use it again before sleep. 20 to 30 minutes. This is when your body does its deepest repair. DNA synthesis happens during deep sleep. And if you're bathing your cells in 528 hertzes while that's happening, you're literally upgrading your biology overnight. Step 5. Add intention. The elite don't just listen passively, they listen with intention. While the frequency plays, they hold a clear image of their desired outcome, not hoping, not wishing, knowing. The frequency creates coherence. The intention directs it. Frequency without intention is like electricity without a circuit, powerful but aimless. But when you combine coherent frequency with focused intention, you become a directed force of creation. This frequency isn't magic, it's physics, it's biology, it's nature's intelligence encoded into sound. And the only reason the elite have an advantage is because they know and you didn't. But now you do. The playing field just leveled. You have the frequency, you have the protocol, you have the knowledge. What you do with it is up to you. But understand this: consistency is what separates those who try from those who transform. The elite don't use 528 hertzes once and expect miracles. They use it daily, as part of their routine. As seriously as they take their business meetings and their workouts. If you commit to 30 days, 10 minutes every morning, 20 minutes every evening, with bone conduction, with breath, with intention, you won't recognize yourself. Your clarity will sharpen. Your decisions will improve. Your health will shift. And opportunities will start appearing because your field is now organized to receive them. This isn't about believing. This is about testing. So, test it 30 days, and then come back and tell me what changed. If you're ready to access what the 1% knows, comment 528 hertzes and commit to the 30-day protocol. Let's see how many of us are willing to stop being part of the 99% and start being part of the frequency elite. The information is no longer hidden. You have it. Now use it.